Go Max! Thanks for agreeing to take part in this cross arts expedition. I hope you're having a nice travel day and all is going really well with you. Without further ado, man, the first question. Could you possibly give us a little description and an outline of your current working practice? What you do, how you do it, etc. I look forward to hearing from you. Ciao!
Hi Guy, I'm nearly home, nearly made it all the way. Basically my current practice is I've been a ballet dancer my whole life. I was a ballet dancer with the English National Ballet for about 12 years, where I did a myriad of soloist roles and principal roles. I then left there and expanded what I do into other forms of performance expression. I went into a musical and sang and danced as well in that. I learned how to act. I've also done creative projects, choreographed things, and lots of collaborations along the way with different artists. My practice all comes from movement. Obviously, I can't really do anything in the day until I've moved. We used to, in company, do about an hour and a half of bar and exercise in the morning, practicing all the movements that we would use throughout the day. Now I'm freelance. I try all types of different movement bases. I do a lot of calisthenics-y stuff, as well as taking classes in different disciplines. Essentially, it all comes from movement. My expression all starts from movement, and my creativity, I can't really do anything until I've moved. So I hope that answers the question.
Hey Max, thanks a lot for answer number one, super interesting. On to question number two. The question is basically what defines your practice as kind of being cross arts? What is it about what you do that makes it in a cross arts manner? The answer to the last question I found really interesting. At the end you talk about movement and me being a fellow kind of mover. Using sticks as the medium. Maybe you could explore that a bit in this answer, like how you use movement within that cross arts kind of context and any connections you see. Cool, bye.
So to answer question two, as a movement specialist, there's movement in every kind of art and every kind of expression. It's not just choreography. Obviously that is like the main output if you're creating, but there's also movement visually. Like I have a good sense of how something should move if you're trying to express a certain thing, or so you could do even auditory wise as well as even emotional, like whether we need to pull it back or whether we need to push it forward. It's essentially momentum or movement within any expression, which is why it crosses over so many mediums, and why choreographers and movement specialists are useful throughout the artistic process at any point.
Sweet. Question number three. Moving on and maybe picking up on this, carrying on the movement theme again, Max. Question three is what your approach is with your cross arts collaborations or your collaborations in general, and what approaches do you take, and maybe let's explore this movement word a bit further. So kind of what do you look for with your collaborations when it comes to movement, what are your aims, what's your aesthetics, that kind of thing. Sweet, bye.
So when I'm collaborating, I try and be as open as possible and not too rushed. We try and get as clear with the idea and the concept before we start. Try and be as open to any suggestions and not rush things. A lot of the time in collaborations there's always a time limit and everyone gets panicked and you don't get the best work you possibly can because you've not got the time to sit back and really look at what's going on and what your understanding of what you're doing is. So I would say go slow and be open. Realize that you don't know, like, even a minuscule amount of what the other person's speciality is. Understand that you know nothing on that end, and give yourself time to understand where they're coming from, and them with you, so that you both understand what page you're on. Movement wise, personally, like aesthetically, I like simple and clean and very clean, betraying very cleanly what's trying to be said with the least amount possible. So it's very pure and simple. I like concepts, kind of dreamy, beautiful, as aesthetic and clean as you can. But I like simplicity in what I do.
So good, sir. On to the final frontier. Question number 4. Could you just give us a couple of moments in your pathway that have been particularly kind of memorable in terms of learning? Like events that have happened that have really struck you and that have then kind of triggered something within your practice. Yeah, man, thank you very much for exploring this with us. It's been a super nice evening of WhatsApp chatting. Cheers, man. Bye.
Thanks, mate. So I'm going to talk about 3 learnings that I had. The first one is the first time I choreographed a proper piece with 6 dancers. I realised that it really doesn't matter how good the choreography is, how good the concept is, how good everything is, unless you can communicate the idea. Because if you can't communicate effectively and you can't get your idea across and you can't keep the team together and keep things going, there's absolutely no point in the whole thing. So I suddenly put a huge emphasis on communication, and actually that helped in every aspect of what I was doing, and just relaying information and realising that that's part of the job of creation. You have to be able to relay it. You can't just be in dream world all the time. Second one was, nowadays you can always get your hands on the information that you need, and there's always someone who can help you, but you need to give yourself no excuses. If you cut all ties, all excuses, and if you've got nowhere to fall back on and you have to make it work, you will do your best work by miles, I've found. As soon as I give myself a safety net, it all goes a bit wishy-washy and a bit soft, and you don't get what you want. The third one was, so an example was, last year I played the lead in a West End show, and I'd never sung or acted on stage before, and I was just about to go on and do it in front of 2,000 people, and I was absolutely terrified. But the only reason I was okay and not completely falling apart and just couldn't handle it was because I have a breathing practice that I do, that I've developed to keep me calm and to keep me present within the situation. So if you've got some sort of practice that you can do to keep yourself in the moment, I find that massively helps, because you can always learn what you need as long as you are present, communicating, and you got no other options. You can really achieve whatever you want. In my opinion, it's been great talking to you, and I hope some of this is interesting. Lots of love.